Hey, what's up, Rube? It's Bots and Kits, formerly known, although you can still find me at Little Big Robots on YouTube. But for now, it's Bots and Signed Kits, Bots and Kits. I'm going to be showing you something really cool today. Something really exciting. I saw that MyBuild I went and checked them out. I need to see if they have a Black Friday sale or whatever, so I can share it with you guys. So this is their newest stuff. I didn't know that it was out, and that's crazy. So I'm so happy they brought something new out because this is really exciting. What they basically built was a hangar system. Now, this is one part of three. This is a 7006, by the way. Thank you for using numbers. I wish all toy companies would put a simple numbering system so you can use it for your checklists and stuff like that. There's a lot to talk about with this real quick. MyBuild is sending me the 7007 section, which I'll show you in a second. And they're sending me three other newest mechs. So I'm going to be reviewing those. Instead of putting them all in one, I'm going to do this because I bought it and I have it now. They're sending me a free package of stuff. I'll review that during this next week after Thanksgiving and the Christmas or the beginning of December. So I'm going to kind of spread these all out over the next week to kind of have just a big MyBuild week. So it's going to be really exciting. Make sure you subscribe so you're reminded about those videos. Also, it helps me out. There you go. So this is the Mecha Frame Hangar. Also, I'm going to have a code probably in the description, if not in a pinned comment. That's going to be a little discount code with a link to their store. They have an Amazon store. They also have an online store, but I believe the Amazon store is where the latest stuff is at. It's the easiest for most people. So I'm going to have a link there, and if you use that link or use that code, I should say, it will take a little bit off of your purchase price. It's a little discount off. That code will not start until December 1st, but I'll have that reminding you in the comment or whatever. So this, I've already opened it, but I wanted to reshoot it because I want to show you what's everything is in it. So the one I have now is 7006. This is really cool. Let's see if I get a better. Here you go. This is a good image of it. So 7006 is this kind of corner piece, and it comes with. It's not a corner piece; it's an end piece, and it comes with this new mech they made, which is it's like an inner frame. If you're a Gundam fan, it's almost like an inner frame. So there's 7006 right there. So I bought this one, and then like I said, they're sending me 7007, which is I'm gonna have like that. What's really cool is I have all my MyBuilds and stuff like that. And there I couldn't. This is the Titan. It's giant. I couldn't find the like a really good spot to kind of display them. This is a really good display option. So this is going to be really fun for people who want to just build a big hangar and put 6 or 7 or 10 or all the MyBuilds in it. But you can buy, as you can see, they connect together pretty easily. You can buy extras, as it were. So that's what I have. That's what I'm going to build. MyBuild, in case you didn't know, it's from Taiwan. They're a fantastic company. Their instruction manuals are really easy to read. So that's the one I got. I'm gonna this one, and then I'll buy that one eventually. So they all can go together. Really cool. I think it'd look cool with like 10 of these across the shelf. This is what they're calling a frame. It's kind of like I said, like an inner frame, which is really interesting because they have this little. They're kind of that part right there is kind of their unique design, where that's kind of the inner frame of the inner frame. It all kind of centers around that at basically their minifig scale. They only have 1 or 2 minifigs. I was going to ask them if they're making more because their minifig they had was really cool. I'll show you that in earlier videos. I'll also have linked a playlist with all the MyBuild stuff in it, so go check them out. See, so the inner frame mech thing I think is fantastic looking, just as it is. It's really cool. So here's all the different bits you get. Excuse them off. Tons. Look at these unique parts. So this is like shows you the scale of the walls. Really chunky stuff. Tons of good bits. These bits here look really cool. So there's a lot of neat. Sorry, lots of noise. There's a lot of really neat, unique parts they molded. because they rule as a brick company. So let's get this built. I'll come back and I'm going to do a review of it. Okay, so here it is completed. Really, really fun build. Some really interesting, cool parts. You can see it's a pretty impressive size. I don't have my tape measure on me, I don't think. But you know, it's a good size. I really think this will be perfect for a lot of shelves. Before I get into all that and to show it with some of my other MyBuild mechs. Let me straighten this one out. I didn't even have his legs all straightened out. So basically what I have here is the 7006. I'm getting a 7007 this weekend, so I'll be sure to add that here soon. That will be like kind of like looks like a midsection, and then 7008 I'll add on later and do the end piece. What they give you in here is what they're calling just a frame. Their normal frame, I think I showed you earlier, is basically is missing some bits here. It's like this. Everything's kind of built around this part, which is, let me get the lamp up in here a little bit, get some light. There we go. Which is like an inner frame body. And then you attach legs, you can attach all sorts of stuff with that. I've got a few extras of those. There's one that's shaped like a scorpion with this, and it does kind of attach to these two, looks like refueling kind of parts back here, which is really, really cool. And actually, I pulled that part off. So did I pull that off? Yes. So let's reattach that here. So what's cool about bricks, you can pull them off and put them back on. And what they've kind of done is they've made this what looks to me to be like a inner frame part 2. It still uses the normal frame bit, but it looks like they kind of made one that from a distance looks like a more complicated inner frame. So you've got the basic, the head that can rotate there, and there are the parts here that will rotate out to allow entry for the pilot. Everything moves like it would normally, but you've got these nice kind of silver, kind of not quite chrome, but kind of like a silver metallicized whatever bits there that really look nice. They've got these little extra bits here that kind of just cleverly go together, look like pistons and stuff. Actually, some of the parts, this light gray and the dark gray, as well as these, like see down here, I kind of got switched, so that's my bad. I kind of built them fast, but it gives you an idea of what it looks like. The legs and everything, all the movement in the mech are really, really good. You can do some cool, crouched and stuff positions if you want to, like a sniper position. You can do. They can get down on the ground for the pilot to get inside. You can do all sorts of fun stuff. These unique, it looks like telephone bits on the back. They've just got a really nice design here that makes it look like a kind of like an unfitted mech. And I guess the idea is that you could have this kind of plugged in. Let's get them plugged in again. Like I said, I've got some of the parts in the wrong area. I put a couple in the wrong area, so you can kind of plug them in there. Put that there, and that kind of holds them in place as well, which I really like. And then you have some really fun little play features. These little fences come down and stuff like that. This is like a little gantry I thought was really cool, so that the guy could get in from here. That's what it looked like to me. Let me get my little tweezers so I don't have to reach over the... Here we go. Let's use this. My nice little pointer brush, fan brush, I should say. So he should be able to, and climb in there. Actually, they have one set that came with a minifig, and I have that minifig somewhere, but it's standard minifig size. This is just some of the stuff also you have that's left over, so that you wind up with some really good. Oh, there's all my tweezers and stuff. You wind up with some really good extra bits to use with other parts. This is pretty common in the MyBuild stuff. You get quite a few extra parts. As I was messing with some other MyBuilds, like for example, I have this little blue guy, and usually he's a little dusty because I've been meaning to. I forgot how he gets in. I think this pops down. Doesn't it pop down? How does that pop open? I can't remember. Maybe he just pops in there. Oh, that pops up, and then the head goes down. That's right. This one comes with like a blade and a hawk type drone. He could be sitting there like that. So I would say that one piece by itself, you're going to have room for, pretty much one mech, but you could, as you can see, put two. Here's probably my favorite mech they've ever made. It's kind of, it reminds me of a scope dog. Really, really great. I just noticed this had the wrong colored bit on his toe. So I must have been doing some playing with, some messing with some of these, customizing and stuff like that. This is really fun. You can see also the difference in the fingers. They've started adding these individual fingers. He could go right there as well. You could, if you wanted to just kind of get an idea. Snap this guy off. Let's set him to the side. I love that inner frame. In fact, they sell just that frame. So I'll put a link to all this, don't worry, in the comments or in the descriptions. Put the gantry up. I don't think that's tall enough. It's not, but you can take it off and he can just sit there. It's not a big deal. So you can put the thing up, the gantry can come down and he could get in that way. You know, I like this little like control panel type thing they built. It's just using some really not super surprising parts in some parts, and then in other parts it uses some really interesting, like these panels here are fantastic pieces. Really, really nice big pieces. You have these cool little security cameras I thought was a lot of fun. What I thought was really fun too is up here you even have a ladder and some safety railing so they could stand up there. You could extend stuff up top. You got these cool looking things that look like, oh, this is really, really cool too. This little, look at this. So you've got this cool like a robot arm. So you can bend that way. He could come up here and hand off ammo or bits or whatever. You know, it's just a really fun, practical little arm. What I like about this too is there's a lot of kind of storytelling going on without the need for too much detail. It does have a lot of detail in it, which is really nice, but you've got just a ton of fun little parts, like this little, thing here for maybe turning on the fuel or, or whatever is going on here. And when it extends, I'm sure that all these parts match up. This part I'm curious about. I just noticed that it looks almost like a door, which I find is funny. Maybe there's with some of the other parts you can build a backing part. So you've got a lot of like play features and stuff in here, but just as a piece for a display kind of piece of these cabinet things here down here are really cool, like storage bits. Just as like a display, it's really, really cool because I found, like I said, I found the problem with my build was that I didn't have anywhere. I had my shelf, of course, to display them on, but I didn't have like an official thing. And what's so smart about a good display like this is that it allows somebody to have an official display that matches, that's designed by the same designers, that matches the kind of the motif and the style and everything like that. But allows you to kind of have it on the shelf in more of a, it can take over a whole section of your shelf. In other words, it looks more like a world. When you add a play set, or when you do a good play set, like back in the 80s and 90s, we had tons of good play sets. These days, a lot of companies, it's expensive to make them, so they don't make them as much. Back in the day, we had tons, and it's really good to see. This is only 50-something bucks, less than $60, and you can see how much of a display option. You could put all your figs up here. You could tack on all sorts of neat little things. In the back, it's pretty bare bones, but it shows you some of the design methods. Just these great big pieces here. These gray pieces are fantastic pieces. I like that it supports itself with the structure, so it's a little stronger. It also helps hold it together, and it really pins together pretty simply. But again, just a really super fun. I want to say simple, but not really as simple. A well-designed display that allows you. Maybe we could put this like that, and he can get in there. I don't know, let's see. That allows you to display a couple of your mechs. Now, with the other sets, like I said, it looks like if you had it this way, and I'm going to have this 07, you want two more, and then maybe two more from there. So you could really have, or at least one more on each side, but you could probably put two or three. I don't know if this piece comes up. It does. Okay, 707 comes out. So look, you could have 1, 2, 3, 4, about 4 or 5 in there. That's just fantastic. I think it would be really neat if they set up the display filled with some different pieces. Now that way I really like as well. They've used two 707s, and like I said, you could get that whole thing for $200. Look at all the display options you have. It's really, really fantastic. So what I'm going to be doing is I'll be getting 7007 this week. I'll build that. I'll attach to this, review that as a section. I'll get 08 later, I'm sure. I'll attach that and review that. And then I'm getting 3 of their new mechs. If I haven't put them on screen, I'll link to them in the description. So in the description, you'll be looking for a code, discount code that's good. It's good starting on December 1st. You can use that in their store. I'm hopefully we'll have their checklist. I'm making sure the checklist has every one of them on there, even the ones that aren't available on the Amazon store anymore. In the Amazon US store, they're available on the official website. I'll have that in there so you can check them off. I use checklists all the time. And then I'll have a link to the playlist with all my other MyBuild builds in there. They're a really fun set. Now, what I'm always debated doing is taking some of these and gluing them together, except for the joints, of course, so they could be like kind of more of like a permanent toy. But honestly, what I absolutely love, and what I started to fall in love with, like with MyBuild and other brick companies, is that if you drop it, if you want to rearrange it, if you want to change how it looks, you can do that just by taking it apart. It's so even, you can take a brick type kit like this apart several times and back together, and it's going to stay pretty tight. The joints will loosen up over time, of course, but you can tighten those up really easy using some joint tightener. I use rubber cement sometimes. It doesn't adhere permanently. It just thickens it up and kind of goops it up. I would kill for them to have eventually completely MyBuild designed fingers, just individual fingers, maybe even just curved like that. I've seen that on some other sets where they have a little bit more of a definition in the hand, but that frame right there, if you bought a few of those, and I'll link to the frame as well, looks absolutely fantastic. I think that's one of the best looking things they've done. And really, honestly, while you are supposed to, quote unquote, you'd put armor on this thing and march it out, I could see this just being used like this. You could really do some fun, maybe throw in a little couple pieces of armor on the front for protection or whatever, or just make it like a little, like kind of like a, a utility type of suit where it walks around and helps out and carries things and stuff like that. It's just really, really fun. But I love the colors, these individual pieces. Also, to have these with other sets, I got some really cool scaffolding and stuff. You could see those being used. These came with another one of the sets, which will all be in all these sets will be in my playlist. So you get cool parts like that. You get some fun parts like that, which you could see. You can mount those there. So you've got a lot of, with the other sets, you get a ton of options, just tons. You got the giant Titan here, which I thought was a fun one. Great big bruiser here. This one might eventually have to be glued together just because he is so large. But he's holding together pretty well. And you can see him going, bloop, pulling up there. So it works with the Titan, which is really cool. And that gives you an idea of the size difference. But this frame here, it's taken a step more into realism. I think they all have a realistic quote unquote, but I like when they look like brick. That's fun. But this is really, really a step in a really interesting direction. I don't know how much more they're going to do of that. Stuff like this, which is their little parachuting part where you have some guns in it and stuff like that. It comes with one of the kits. You could set that up on top there, like that. So the roofing alone gives you some options. I have left over. And I'll go through some of this in my other reviews. I have all these parts left, see, different parts as I was playing with and messing with them. So you can use this stuff on here, the official stuff. You can then, yes, they work with other brick lines. Personally, I prefer to use these bricks with with the official bricks that they make themselves. It's not that I really care or whatever, but I kind of like that, having that system integrity type thing. But really, really cool. Totally worth the 50-something bucks. Because I bought this one, and then MyBuild is sending me some things for free, which I will be putting in. I will be noting that whichever ones are free. But this particular one and all these sets you see, I bought myself. But really cool. I mean, just the display options alone. I have my section on my shelf cleaned out to put these. I think it'll probably fit all three. And then I can have some room for a little forward extended room, and I can put all my suits, my MBuild Mecha on there. So keep an eye out for that. Subscribe, because I'll be putting those up probably over the next week after Thanksgiving, 1st of December kind of time. Over the next few days or few weeks, I'll be putting them all up. So thanks again for everything, and keep an eye out for the rest of the reviews. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.